the mastermind in Albania, and I brought out a gentleman by the name of last name Fulani, and he's the governor of the Central Bank of Albania. He's the one that signs the money that goes out. I asked him 3 questions. The first one I said, Mr. Fulani, do central banks run the world? And he said, well, I can't answer that, but what I can tell you is what JP Morgan said. JP Morgan said, whoever controls the money controls the world. 1. The second question I asked him was, is Bitcoin money? And he said, well, what are the functions of money? It has to be a value. It has to be a means of exchange. It has to have store of value, things of this nature. So Bitcoin, by definition, is money. The third question I asked him, because he's a globalist, and I still talk to these people because I'm here to learn. I'm a student mind. I asked them, World Economic Forum, 2030, all these things. Is it going to happen? He said, undoubtedly it's going to happen. And the reason he knows it's going to happen is because we're going to go back into a state of what's called techno-feudalism. I'm not going to go into super in-depth details as to what techno-feudalism is. We'll talk about it over dinner because it's a little bit of a deeper conversation, things that I think people need to go and explore. But if you think a bunch of retail, Wall Street bet investors are going to go against the system that allowed them to get rich in the first place, is foolish. These guys control everything, and they're going to continue controlling everything because you're not disciplined enough to get your act together to compete. What, you think you're going to compete with these guys that are quants that are running hedge funds worth billions of dollars by reading 2 books a year? By hanging out with scrubs all day? Dude, you're so far behind. People can't even comprehend how weak they truly are. So my recommendation for people is understand where things are going, understand where the trends are moving, and position yourself in a way where you, as part of the system, because you are a part of the system, like you are part of the problem, you're part of the virus, just as much as everybody else is part of the virus. You need to position yourself in a way that you can succeed and you can minimize your risk. So what does this mean? Over the next coming years, there's going to be a couple major sectors that are going to be extremely popular. Sector number 1, anything that has to do with green renewable energy, massive sector. Right? So me understanding this, I'm going to start looking for projects, companies that are going to position myself, right, to make. Dude, these guys still have to pull their money out of the markets. They still have to be able to play these games. So what I'm doing is I'm figuring out where are these guys going, and how can I take a little nibble? I'm not here to fight. We said it before, right? If this idea that you die, nothing matters in this life, then why am I going to be focused all my attention on trying to disrupt the machine? Yeah. Dude. Like, what sort of God complex do you have that you think that you're going to disrupt the machine? You're a cog in the machine. You don't even know. But when you have the humility to recognize you're a cog in the machine, you have to figure out, well, how do I capitalize? And how can I make sure that the people around me don't get fucked, don't get finessed by the system, don't get famoosed? Because so many people are. And if you have the ability to capitalize on that and to do good with the resources that you gain from that, I think that that's a win.